Howdy, y'all. Sorry, feeling a little ashy today. Either way, my name is Andy King, and welcome to King's Comics. Thank y'all so much for returning and tuning back in. I've had a lot of people asking me to go over my top 5 comic book films for the year, and man, trust me, it has been an awesome year for comic book films. That being said, let's go ahead and break it down and take a look at my top 5 comic book movies or superhero movies for 2018. As an honorable mention, we're going to go ahead and start with the Venom movie. I know, I was really hoping for some, actually, I really had no expectations for this. It had like a lot of choppy trailers and a lot of weird mixed tones and mixed signals, but gotta admit, I was more impressed with the final product than I was expecting to be. It had a lot of action, it had some horror elements, a little bit of cheesy romance in there. They did pretty dang great with the Venom design as well. So, honorable mention. That being said, I'm going over my top 5, so we're moving that one to the wayside. So, coming in at number 5 is Black Panther. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually really enjoyed the Black Panther movie. It came out of nowhere and also really shocked me. However, I really wish that Disney had turned up its CGI for this one. It felt like there were some kind of lazy CGI moments, especially with kind of turning to this new Black Panther uniform, which was a lot easier to pull off than, I guess, the Black Panther uniform that we saw in Captain America Civil War. That one was awesome, but I get it when you're trying to cut corners and produce these films out with almost little to no turnaround. That being said, I loved the movie. I had a lot of fun watching it with my friends and families. In fact, I watched it about 4 or 5 times just because I had so many people asking me to go see it. We even made a youth group outing to go see this movie. I was falling asleep during my 4th or 5th showing just because I knew which moments I could kind of fall asleep during. Either way, good movie, but I'm placing it number 5 for this year.
Wakanda forever!
Number 4 is going to be Aquaman. And let me tell you, I've gone over it in my review, but I was really impressed and shocked by this film. It's a DCEU film, so there were actually kind of lower expectations than there were for Venom. However, I felt that Aquaman did a lot of things better with this whole kind of unlikely ruler story than Black Panther was trying to accomplish. It had Jason Momoa just as this weird kind of drunken surfer bro Aquaman, but it worked really well, even with the awkward tidbits of the Aquaman Mera romance, which actually kind of worked out better than I had expected as well. But his whole struggle with Orm, as well as to become this king of the Seven Seas and unite the Seven Seas, was really entertaining, and I gotta hand it to James Wan and the whole staff for pulling it off, as well as painting this vivid portrait of what Atlantis looked like in CGI. Once again, I feel like they delivered this a lot better than what Marvel has been doing with a lot of its CGI lately. Coming in at number 3 is Deadpool 2. Deadpool took us a lot by surprise because of the fact that it wasn't supposed to happen. Ryan Reynolds, in a true fit of passion, pushed and pushed for this film to get made. And, well, after mishaps like the Green Lantern movie and X-Men Origins Wolverine, it was pretty dang unlikely that this was going to happen. However, after some test footage got leaked, I have no idea how that happened, but I'm thankful for it. This ended up becoming something that Ryan Reynolds was finally able to push through the door, past his executives, and even bankroll a little bit, if not a lot of it himself. So he was putting life and limb on the line to see this movie happen, to see this vision of Deadpool brought to screen, and it paid off. Even with Deadpool 1, people were entranced by Ryan Reynolds' presentation of Wade Wilson on screen. However, with Deadpool 2, he really turns it up a notch, and we have a stronger story than we saw with Deadpool, the first Deadpool, as well as a stronger relationship between him in terms of just romance, his interactions with the other X-Men, even some nice little Easter eggs and cameos. But also, we finally get the Deadpool and Cable interaction, which a lot of people have been waiting for ever since he teased it in the first movie.
They probably won't even make a 3.
Yeah, why would they? Stop it, too. You killed it.
Then coming in at number 2, oh man, this was actually a really hard one, but number 2 is going to be Infinity War. I know, hear me out. Infinity War was awesome. I felt like a little kid shaking in my seat watching this movie. I mean, when Thor entered Wakanda, the whole audience, and I mean, I saw this 2 or 3 times, each time the audience lit up, was just roaring whenever they saw Thor crash land into Wakanda using the Bifrost powers of Stormbreaker.
Bring me Thanos!
However, I mean, it was good, but once again, there was some choppy CGI, and I gotta hand it to the Russo brothers for pulling off the most ambitious media crossover of all time. But there is a specific reason, maybe I'm a little biased, why I'm placing it number 2, and that is because my number 1 pick for 2018 superhero comic book movies is Into the Spider-Verse.
Seriously.
Now, hear me out. Once again, I am a little bit biased because if I haven't illustrated it before or stated it before, Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes, and I'm going to have to do a whole other video on that, I'm sure. That being said, yes, Infinity War was incredible. It was one of the most, if not the most ambitious movie of all time. Once again, not just from a budget perspective, but in tying a decade's worth of movies together. However, with Into the Spider-Verse, Sony took a huge risk and also produced one of the best, if not the best, Spider-Man movie of all time. They had this story of a new Spider-Man trying to fill the roles of this kind of legendary protector, if you will, of New York City, while also trying to find his place in the world while going through puberty. There were just a lot of very essential Peter Parker story elements there. As we see Miles Morales try to fill the shoes that Peter Parker, at least of the 1610 universe, the Ultimate Universe, had left for him, we see this really earnest portrait of what it means to be Spider-Man, just this untrained hero trying to find his way, built upon tragedy, grief, sorrow, but also realizing that with great power comes great responsibility. But here's the incredible thing. They're not the amazing thing, the spectacular thing. I'm going to go ahead and stop. The impressive thing is the fact that they're not just focusing on this mentor-mentee relationship between this downtrodden Peter Parker as well as this newcomer Miles Morales. They tie in the stories of 4 other Spider-Men, which gives us 6, actually technically 7 Spider-Man story altogether. You've got Peter Parker from the Ultimate Universe. You've got Jake Johnson's Peter Parker from what is technically the canonical universe, the 616 universe with respect to Into the Spider-Verse. You've got Miles Morales, you have Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ham, Spider-Noir, then SP//DR, or I'm just going to say Spider, the anime-influenced Spider-Man. And it's just incredible because not only are you tying together the story, interweaving the story of 7 different Spider-Men, but you're also giving 7 different origin stories, which is kind of lampooning the fact that allegedly, which makes sense, people kind of hate the rehashing of origin stories with each superhero movie that comes out. But hats off to Sony for delivering such a strong movie, taking a risk with an animated superhero movie on the big screen, as well as delivering one of the best animated superhero movies, well, animated movie and superhero movie of all time.
I'm pretty sure you know the rest.
And there you have it, folks. That wraps up my ranking of the top 5, or at least my top 5, superhero comic book movies of 2018. But with 2019 on the horizon, there is a lot of promise for what the comic book movie, superhero movie genre has to offer. But if you have any comments, feedback, suggestions, please drop a line down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And if you liked what you saw today, please hit the like or subscribe button. Love to see you back and with some more feedback or to check out more of my content. And if you really liked what you saw today, maybe share this to your mom's Facebook wall or something like that. MySpace page if people still use MySpace. And once again, please feel free to hit me up on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'd love to also chat with y'all and make suggestions because I have some people asking me for suggestions for comics outside of these YouTube videos. So I'd love to oblige that as I am able to. But that's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of King's Comics.